We're with half of Invoke today. Zach Madison, Nick Montopoli, and we have the added bonus of our director of events, Stacey Hoyt. Thank you all for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
So let's talk about EVOKE, which is coming up on the 26th, Saturday afternoon, 2 performances, 4 o'clock and at 8 o'clock. And this is a collaboration with Brandon Ridenour, big-time trumpet player, maybe the youngest member of the Canadian Brass at some point?
At some point,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely believe that.
And big deal. Played with a varied array of artists. James Taylor, Sting. He's played with the Knights, the New York Philharmonic, LA Philharmonic. So you guys have been collaborating with Brandon for 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a collaboration that's been kind of building for that long. We've known Brandon for about 10 years. We used to be on the same roster with him, and we kind of crossed paths a bunch of times, sight reading stuff in back rooms in New York whenever we crossed paths, and that became this project that now we kind of test run last year and are officially presenting this coming week.
And they're calling it EVOKE.
Yeah, Brandon had he's trying to create a triptych of pieces.
Okay.
Evoke, I think next he's going to be writing Provoke. And he hasn't decided on the third one yet, but so he was
Is there
inspired.
another Vogue? Is there another iteration of Vogue?
I'm not sure. Maybe it will just be
I guess we're
Vogue.
going to find out. Maybe just Vogue. Wonderful.
But yeah, we've been excited for this collaboration because some of our biggest mentors had brought up Brandon and the way that not only is he a great chamber player and amazing like orchestral player, but he's also really focused on kind of like us, like breaking the boundaries of genre, like what a trumpet player can do. So he founded another like kind of mixed media chamber group called The Founders, and they do a lot of awesome kind of crossover projects and things like that. So it's made sense that we would work together someday.
So what kind of things have you guys learned over the years working with this trumpet player? All of you being string players, multiple string players, multi-instrument string players.
Well, he can play us under a table for sure,
Yes.
which was surprising. I mean, he's like has such a history of being a chamber player in small ensembles, and he just has an incredible awareness of the ensemble, of the other players, of kind of the stylistically also. You know, when we first started prepping for this project, you know, he had a loadout of maybe 6 or 8 different mutes, and he's kind of testing them all, trying them all out, figuring out like the perfect blend with a string group. We thought, you know, it was going to be tricky in ways because trumpet being so different from strings, etc. But I mean, he has such an ear for that, and has incredible stamina as a player. I mean, can play really all day in any situation, any kind of configuration. So I mean, he's just an incredibly sensitive and amazing player.
So do you all find, or have you found over the years, that you have to sort of temper the way that you play with him?
No, I honestly, that's maybe to flip the question. I feel like we've learned very little because he's so good at being so sensitive that I forgot that we're playing with a trumpet player almost because, you know, in orchestra, they're like, okay, we can only do this one section 2 or 3 times, and then the trumpets, they're done, you know,
Right.
and their chops are out or something like that. So,
Right.
I mean, we were rehearsing for like 3 hours straight, and he didn't take a break one time, and then at the end of it, he's like, I'm tired, you know. But it was like, oh yeah, that's because it's really easy to do this, and so it was like I was like, oh, yeah, he's really good.
Now, for this program, you guys are known for playing multiple instruments. Are you doing that for this performance here at KMFA?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the arrangements that we've, you know, the program is a combination of his music, our music, and arrangements of all sorts of different things. And some of the pieces, like Evoke, for example, has banjo part, mandolin as well.
No, just banjo.
No. So it has he wrote. That's a piece that he wrote.
Okay.
To include the banjo, and we kind of workshop that a little bit in terms of, you know, voicings and whatnot. So it's very similar to some of the things that we're playing with him to how we might do a piece that we've written for ourselves. You know, trying things out, testing different voicings, different orchestrations of things.
Yeah. What is on the lineup for this weekend?
Oh, it's a hodgepodge. Or I'm calling it a hodgepodge.
Well, it's typical for you all.
Yes.
It's all different.
What I think is nice about this collaboration, and I'm sure that hopefully in the future we can really maybe discover new ways to hone in, but I think for us it's just like actually celebrating all of the different things that we're interested at this moment. So Brandon has an awesome arrangement of Wild Man Blues by Louis Armstrong. We're doing Cento and Seno by Vivaldi,
Yeah.
which is a fun color to explore with banjo and mandolin acting as kind of like lute instruments,
Okay.
you know. And then we're doing a couple from our album, Evolve and Travel, that Carl arranged to include trumpet, a new piece by Nick, which we haven't really got to play very much, called Tell, which I think is a really cool mixture of, there's a lot of interesting string sounds happening. And probably one of my favorite pieces, a new piece that was part of the 50 for the Future commissioned by Kronos, called Only Ever Us by Paul Wianco. And it's a really interesting composition because he wrote it for a string quartet, but then there's auxiliary parts for another violinist, another violist, and a cellist. And the idea behind it was that if you ever have a group of people together and you need an extra, a string quartet sight reading party, and you have an extra violin, they can just hop in and read the auxiliary violin part or viola or cello. And we just thought that'd be so cool what if it was not any of those instruments? What if it was a trumpet player? So Brandon has gone through all the auxiliary parts and kind of made himself a part that integrates with the music.
Interesting.
I think it hops around a little bit, but it's really cool, again, to see what is originally for string ensemble and bringing in a trumpet player to add such a different variety of colors. I think it now when he has changing out mutes for different sounds, different areas.
So 10 years collaborating with Brandon. What kinds of things have you learned from this collaboration? What has this collaboration taught you all?
Well, it's really interesting to get to write and arrange for a new ensemble. You know, we write for ourselves as Invoke, the string group, all the time. But having just that extra challenge of how can we incorporate someone else? A lot of the music we're doing is stuff that we have played before, or stuff that Brandon's played with different groups. Some of it's brand new, but being able to add somebody else to what we've already been working on, it's an interesting way to see that music in a different light. That we kind of rediscover what it is to play some of that music.
Yeah, I think you guys like collaborating with people too.
Oh yeah.
I picked that up over the years. Speaking of which, so I know you guys have summer coming up, and then before you know it, there's going to be the next season. Anything exciting coming up for Invoke in the coming months? Or next year?
Speaking of collaborations, we have collaborations with a lot of KMFA, former alum of the Composer in Residence program, Clarissa Saad.
Okay.
We're really excited to be collaborating with her on another hodgepodge of works by her and works by us, and so it'll be an interesting way of experimenting. What does a composer who's also a pianist look like in our group? We've done lots of piano quintets in the past, but not really with someone like Clarice. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like.
She does stand out.
Yeah.
She's very unique. Yeah.
And another thing that we've been doing because of our first workshop with Brandon was developing an awesome relationship with Batch Craft Beer and Kolaches. And they support a lot of the artists in the kind of indie classical scene. And they've let us come in every month and do what we're calling Under the Hood with Invoke and Friends. And it's a laboratory series where we get to experiment with new repertoire as we're looking ahead to the future, but also highlight someone not from the classical realm. So we're doing a lot of singer-songwriters in Austin, a lot of instrumentalists that are not in the classical scene, and writing string quartet arrangements of their music. So we get to play a little bit of ours, they come up and do a short set, and then we come together at the end for at least 2 or 3 tunes. And so it's a really fun way of learning about all the different people working in Austin and figuring out how to maybe bridge or make a bridge between those two communities, even though there's so much work like that being done by everybody, like KMFA and Here Be Monsters and all those different organizations in town. So
Nice.
we're really excited about that.
Very exciting. Stacey Hoyt, our Director of Events. Tell us about Saturday's performances. So there are 2 performances on Saturday, one at 4 and one at 8. And what's it looking like for the afternoon?
So before each performance, we have a pre-performance talk, 3 o'clock before the 4 o'clock performance, and 7 o'clock before the 8 o'clock performance.
Okay.
And that gives our audience an opportunity to come a little early and learn more, take a deeper dive into what they're about to hear, and hopefully deepen the experience.
Yeah, no, it's a nice
that they're
add-on.
having. Yeah.
It really is. And it takes place in our conference room here at
Yes.
KMFA.
Yes.
And it's with the artists.
And then after the concert, we have some networking time. So
Very nice.
that's a carryover from the new music mixers that were part of KMFA's live programming before the pandemic.
Yes.
Just bringing together the artists and celebrating new music, connecting.
Very good. And Jess Griggs is going to be the
Yes.
sort of MC of these pre-concert talks.
Yes.
This weekend, Jess hosts night music here on KMFA. She's known in the community. So what else is coming up with Offbeat?
Well, we have our fall coming into. I can't actually announce exactly what's happening, but I can tease.
Yes.
On October 10th, we have a prominent percussionist in the Austin area
Nice.
putting a program together for us. And
Very
then in November, we're gonna feature some guitarists,
Okay.
local.
Sounds tempting.
Local artists of the same, offbeat
Very
kind
good.
of genre, if you will,
Very good.
indie classical, or
Yeah.
it's hard to define.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, we're doing it here in Austin, and we want to bring attention to it and get more people coming to see this incredible music that's being made.
Yeah, and I will say the experience is really something here because it's not just performance on stage. I mean, you also have visuals a lot of the time or other things going on. So it's fun. It's a very different experience.
And the Drayla Mason Music Studio is an exquisite place
Yes, it is.
to hear music.
Yeah, the acoustics are great. It seats the right amount of people, and the performances are the perfect length. Not too long, not too short. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Invoke with EVOKE. Trumpeter Brandon Ridenour joining you guys. That's this Saturday, the 26th, 4 p.m., 8 p.m. And there's more info at kmfa.org/events. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
you.